Fumigation certificate. This is where a lot of registrations usually have issues. A lot of business owners usually have issues. The fumigation certificate, I usually tell people, should not be older than a week. Once you start your NAFDAC registration, you have to wait. I told NAFDAC registration takes 3 months. Just wait for that for like in the second month of your registration. Then go ahead and start processing your fumigation certificate. Fumigation certificate is just telling NAFDAC that your environment is free from pests and rodents. Get a certificate from a fumigating company. They're going to list out all the chemicals they use in fumigating your environment, and they're going to give you a certificate that's going to state all that, and going to submit the soft copy to NAFDAC. And that's, like I said, is 3 samples of your product. You're changing the way you want to sell it to the market. You must package it that way and send either a picture to NAFDAC if you're working with a filing agent, or if you want to go to their office directly, you have to submit that product directly to them. So like I said, 6 certificates, your site use agreement document, fumigation certificate, 3 samples of your product, then copy of receipts of payment. After submitting some of these documents, your filing agent is going to make a payment for you on their platform. Or if you are not going to a filing agent, you want to go to their office, they're going to make a payment. So they're going to ask you for the copy, the receipt of that payment. They're going to carry it along. Then another thing is your fitness, your medical certificates, your food handler's certificate. What this simply means is you and your staff must go to a lab, a recognized lab. I usually tell people it's better for you to use a government approved hospital or a general hospital to do this lab. So you have to go to a recognized lab to do a food handler's test or a medical fitness test. This test is just to tell NAFDAC that you are fit medically to produce this particular product. And the test usually includes sputum test, stool test, urinary test, and without test, and all that. I'm going to leave a list on the screen so you can go through the test. So this is what they need from you. Then product label. When I'm talking about the second category of registration, I'm going to talk more about this product label. This is very, very important. So for you that are under the micro enterprises, like for us that are just starting micro scale enterprises, this is just what you need. You don't need any long list. This is now that way of telling you they're ready for you. Now onto the next category, onto the next group, the small scale enterprises. These people are those I call the big madam, because if you have between 10 to 49 staff under you, then you are a big madam in the cake industry. So I'm going to be talking more about your requirement because yours is a little bit lengthy. First thing you're going to need is CAC certificate. That's the first, that's the basic CAC certificate. The next thing you're going to need is a trademark certificate. It is very, very important. But those under the micro, it is not necessary. You don't need it. You don't need to go through the stress of submitting a trademark certificate. Although I tell you it's optional, but you don't need it. You just need your CAC certificate. But for those under the small scale enterprises, you need your CAC certificate, you need a trademark certificate, you need the application letter, then you need SOPs. SOPs are just a breakdown of everything you do in a particular, let's say everything you do when you're about producing, everything you do when you're about packaging. That's what you need. So you need SOP for production, SOPs for quality control, SOP for distribution, SOPs for changing of equipment, SOP for cleaning of equipment. All these SOPs, you need them, and they must be in a letterhead format representing your company's name. This letterhead format must have your company's name, followed by your company's address, followed by your company's email address, followed by your company's phone number. If your company or your brand is not having a phone number or an email address, you can use your personal phone number and email address. Now you see the way I said followed by. NAFDAC is very, very particular when it comes to submitting of documents. It must follow a kind of hierarchy. Don't just scatter the documents and submit. No, it must have a hierarchy, a format. So when you're submitting this soft documents, you must have your company's name, company's address, next your company's email address, and next your company's phone number. Just like the micro, you will need your food handler certificate or your medical fitness certificate. You also need a food lab test. This food lab test is to tell NAFDAC all the nutritional information about your product, the level of carbohydrate, the level of protein, the level of sugar in your products. Now, don't be scared that NAFDAC wants to make use of information to produce their own or something. No. Every information you provide to NAFDAC is specifically for you. It's protected. It's not going to be shared to another producer. No, it's protected. They just want to know what is going into what they're producing, to know whether it's fit, whether it suits the standard. Then another document you're going to produce is going to be the list of your raw materials, all your raw materials. You're not going to hide anything. You're not going to hide anything. You're going to list out all your raw material. Another thing is the certificate of the analysis of your raw material. Just like when you list your raw materials, the certificate of analysis is like where you get your materials from, the sources of your suppliers, their phone number. This is just what it's all about. Then the fumigation certificate, just like in a micro, you need to tell NAFDAC that your registration, your product or where you're producing is free from pests, it's free from rodent. Now, if you're under the small scale enterprises, you're not going to be allowed to have just what should I call it, 2 rooms in your house that you're going to produce from. But you're already a big person, so it is you that will now decide to rent either a 2-bedroom flat or a 3-bedroom flat, because you cannot have a staff rate of 10 to 49 and you now put all of them in 2 rooms. No, it's not going to be appropriate. They also need your water analysis. The water analysis is just telling us that okay, I'm using the water I'm using is coming from the borehole. This is how everything goes. This is how clean it is and all that. Or no, I just pump my water into the tank and I use it. So you must give NAFDAC your water analysis. All these are going to be in soft copy, letterhead, soft copy, and they must carry your company's details. And then your production manager's document, the production manager document. You must have a production manager. You must produce the documents. You must give NAFDAC the document. Documents include the statements of results, the discharge, NYC discharge letter, then the acceptance offer. When you employ him or her, you're going to give that person a letter of employment. That person is going to give you an acceptance letter. You're going to submit that also to NAFDAC. Then apart from the medical test that you also have to submit to NAFDAC. Then your production flow chart. It's just like an organogram of how you produce. Let me use cake as an instance. From when you put your flour and sugar into your mixer, to your butter, to your eggs, to your flavors, to colorings, everything, just like a recipe. That recipe, you're going to give it to NAFDAC. Don't be scared. NAFDAC is not going to use it for anything. They're not going to give it to another producer. No. You just want to make sure that you're following the due process. You're going to give everything to NAFDAC. That is what I call your flow chart. Then the organogram of your organization. That is the role everybody holds in your organization. And in a hierarchy, this is the managing director, this is the sales rep, this is the customer care representative, and these are the factory workers. You're going to give all that organogram, the diagram. You're going to give that to NAFDAC. Then that is why I said, for small scale enterprises, what you need is more. Then, like I said, your batch formulation. Your batch formulation is also like the recipe of how things go into how the products or what you're producing come into play. That is what they call your batch formulation. Now, I'm going to talk more about the product label because I'm going to bring your product label. This particular discussion is also specific to those under the micro scale. Naturally, you're also going to submit your label. The design. This is how NAFDAC wants their label. The problem a lot of us have with NAFDAC is that we don't follow the process. We just want to submit this document anyhow and go. No. NAFDAC don't do that. If you want to submit a document, you must follow the due process. You must follow their hierarchy. You must follow it in hierarchy. Now, for your product label, you need the name of the product boldly written at the front of the label. Please take note of what I am saying. At the front of the label, they need your ingredients in descending order at the back of your label. That is, if for instance you're producing chin chin You know that for chin chin you use flour, maybe flour in 500 gram, followed by sugar in 300 gram. Don't write sugar first, then followed by flour. It's wrong. They will send you back to go and reprint another label. You must start with the highest ingredient, your flour in 500 gram, then next your sugar in 300 gram, then next your butter maybe in 250 gram, just like that, in that order. So your products in descending order. Then the nutritional information. This is where I said you must do a food lab test. Nutritional information, I tell you about your carbohydrates, your protein, and the weight or the level of this nutritional information level. Don't put, if carbohydrates is more, don't put protein first before carbohydrates. Start with the highest quantity of your, when you're doing your nutritional information, the highest should be at the top, followed by the next, just like that, in that order. Then your allergic caution. If maybe some people are allergic to almond, to nutmeg, to some spices, if you incorporated that into your products, you must put an allergy caution there. Then your storage direction. If you are storing under room temperature, you must mention that rate. If it's 30 degrees Celsius, write it there. Don't just say store at room temperature. Now that will send it back. At what rate? If it's your product to be stored in a freezer, you must also state the rate. It is that serious. Then your name of your address. All these other things are the back. Your nutritional information, ingredients, name of allergy caution. These are the back of your label. Then, like I said, the name and address of your company. First, the name, followed by the address, then the phone number, then the email address, in that order. And this is at the back of your product. Another thing is the recycle bin, that icon. Let it be at the back of your product label. And that thing is, this one they say, if seal is broken, return to so and so. That is for recall. It must be at the back of your label. Then no form of advertisement. You don't write super crunchy chin chin, super delicious cake, super moist cake on your label. That is a form of advertisement. NAFDAC will not accept it. You have to return it and reprint, so avoid that. Then the batch formulation, the manufacturing date, MFD, BB, batch number, the NAFDAC registration number. This should be at the back of your label, in that order. MFD first, best before, batch number, NAFDAC registration number. You know, at the point where you are submitting your NAFDAC, your product for sample, your product label for sample, you don't have the NAFDAC registration number yet, so you just leave that particular portion blank. So these are the basic requirements. These are the requirements you need if you're under the small scale enterprises.